Caponata is a Sicilian vegetarian stew. I love it because you can serve it hot, cold, you can have it as a side dish. Today I'm going to be using it as a relish for a filler for a toasty, and I'm going to be using these gluten-free wraps. Now let's get onto the caponata because it takes about 15 minutes to cook. A nice generous amount of good quality extra virgin olive oil into a saute pan. And we need to saute off some onions. I've chopped everything so it's all going to go into the pot. We'll just toss that in the oil. I'll also add some garlic. Always add your garlic after the onion so it doesn't burn. A few cloves of garlic. And the best thing about this caponata is you can make it ahead of time, pop it in a container in the fridge, and it's ready to go when you want to make a really nice, healthy lunch, just like I'm doing here. Now, once we get these onions to become a little bit soft, which they are now, they've got some colour, I'll add a hint of salt. And now I'll add the eggplant. Now, the eggplant is the meaty component. If you're a vegetarian, this is fantastic because it really bulks out a dish. I've finally chopped the eggplant and I'll add that in. And again, on a high heat, we want to toss that and get some nice colour. And I'll add a little bit more salt because the eggplant needs it so we can really taste it. And just stir that around just to soften the eggplant. And now we can add some capers. The capers are going to give this a nice saltiness. Now for some sweetness, currants. This is what makes this stew really unique. It's that sweet and sour that you get from the caponata. In Italian, we say agrodolce. I'm also going to add some vinegar for the sourness. So in with our currants. And you'll see that they're quite firm at the moment, dry, but at the end of cooking, they're going to plump up nicely. Fabulous. Now for that tang we were talking about, a little bit of vinegar. And just to accentuate the sweetness, some caster sugar. And we'll stir that in. And now to transform this into the relish, we need some tomatoes, some canned tomatoes, and we'll add that, juice and all. And then just with the back of a spoon, crush the tomatoes. I'll get my wooden spoon, stirring that. Perfect. Now it's as simple as turning this down, pop the lid on, and because I've made a small batch, this is not going to take long at all to cook. I'll give this about 10 minutes or until it's really thick and rich. Now this caponata is cooked and I've just transferred it to a bowl. Now I need to add the crunchy element to this relish, which is pine nuts. I've toasted them separately and now I'll add them. The reason I add the pine nuts after it's cooked is so it retains its crunch. So I'll just fold them in. This is just such a yummy dish to make on its own, but it's even better as a filling for our toasty wraps. So I'll need 2 gluten-free wraps. And we'll put them side by side. And on one side, I'll add some ricotta. I'm going to use a ricotta because it's nice and light. You can also use some cottage cheese. And we're just going to spread that around our gluten-free wrap and just leave a 1 centimetre border because I don't want it to spill out as it cooks in the pan. So nice thin layer, spreading that. Perfect. Now for a little bit of manchego, which is a hard sheep's milk cheese. It's a Spanish cheese, and we only need a small amount of that in the centre. You can leave this out if you like, but I love the saltiness of it. Fabulous. And now for the caponata, a few spoonfuls in the centre, and then again spreading that out, making sure that it doesn't go all the way to the edges. Oh, it smells so good. There's so many interesting flavours in here and they really stand out from the saltiness of the capers, the sweetness of the currants. Just a really nice recipe to have in your repertoire. Perfect. Now we'll place the gluten-free wrap on top and we'll sandwich it together and just press it down lightly. And now we can toast it in the pan. No oil required. I'm going to cook this for about 1 to 2 minutes on each side. 1 to 2 minutes. 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 All right, this is nice and crispy on the outside, so let's take it out of the pan. And now, just so it's much easier to eat, I'm gonna cut this in half. And have a look in the center there. Look how yummy that looks. This is a super healthy yet interesting snack to have. I'm gonna cut it in quarters now. And then the other side. And then we'll just pile it up onto a plate. That is a super delicious snack. You know, this is great for people who are vegetarian, who are gluten-free, or if you're just wanting something super delicious that's different from your average toastie.